Welcome to the Flaming Puck Podcast with me, your host, Ian the Dynamo Kelly, joined as always by my left hand and my right hand man, Mr. Dylan Simpson, and of course, Mr. Chris Ruback, the master of the barbecue. We are here today to talk some Flames hockey. But first and foremost, gentlemen, how are you?
Friggin' A, buddy. Just came off a brilliant 6-0 win over the Rangers.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm pretty happy on that.
Also, coming off the back of a hell of a run, even with the L to Nashville, was kind of we're on the right trajectory, right?
Absolutely.
And Dallas, of course.
I think the fact of the matter is, like, after the first game of the season, we can kind of write that one off.
Yeah.
But since then, our only real down spot of the season was a couple of overtime losses. Even when we're not and we played really well, and I believe both of those games and deserved, and there was a couple wins we probably didn't deserve, but
ever since our first game, we've gotten at least a point in every game since.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you cannot complain about that. I was joking online, trying to be positive because everyone always blasts me for being negative. But before the Rangers game, we were on pace for 123 points. Obviously, that's ridiculous thing to talk about this early, but
obviously it'll be 132. So
right,
exactly. I'm kind of more on Chris's. Page. I don't really look at games as, oh well, we didn't deserve to win that, because I think that's bullshit. Personally, I'm like, you win at the end of the day. What really matters, history tells us the scoreline. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Yeah, that's true.
And we've shown some
until you get into the playoffs, and wins are pretty goddamn important.
Well, yeah, then it's absolutely super important. But I think what we have shown this, I mean, let's take a moment of appreciation for Daryl Sutter, because finally we do see that the Daryl Sutter way is it's transmitting with the players, and I mean, this is what I believe it is our best start in something like 14 years.
Yeah.
So
it's a very good time, yeah.
That's pretty awesome. So
it's allowing the players to really come out of their shell and play creative hockey, right?
Yeah.
They're possessing the puck for far further than they have in 10 years, right?
A long time.
They're keeping pressure in the zone, which is exciting. They're mixing it up between the dump and chase and the actual pull it.
The last time was probably with Sutter in charge, right?
Well,
yeah, but even then was a different brand of hockey.
Right? It was a different brand. It the same. It was the same general idea, but it was so much more boring, honestly.
Yeah, this is more exciting, is what I mean.
This is very, very exciting hockey for Sutter. It's not super exciting hockey for the NHL now. Like, if you look at prime Tampa Bay or whatever, but it's very exciting hockey for the grind away, dump and chase what we do, and then we still manage to somehow score way more than anybody expected us to.
And then, I mean, one of the differences I think between then and now is the caliber of player, right? Sutter didn't have a Johnny Hockey that can make people look foolish in their own zone like he can, or Kachuk, who's seeing the ice at a great level right now. He's really seeing things. The playmaking ability of this team right now is phenomenal, and I don't think Sutter really had that. He had a lot of workhorses, guys that came to work and would make it happen. As far as just true,
but didn't he say that? Didn't he say that last year as well? He was like, "Look, it might not seem like it now, but I've got actually far more talented players on my roster."
Yeah, they just had to put it together.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
And one thing I think is very underrated, obviously everybody knows he's a hell of a two-way player and has the offensive ability, but the playmaking ability of Lindholm is very understated.
Oh, good.
Like, has been for a couple of years, I think.
He's been one of the players of the season in general, hasn't he? Him and I
Yeah,
mean,
it's not flashy, but
no.
it sure is effective.
Oh,
He's not flashy, but he's smart. He knows when to pass and when not. Like those giveaways that sometimes annoy us about Johnny's playmaking or other people's like Dubé or whatever trying to play make, and sometimes they'll just give the puck away. That doesn't happen with Lindholm so much because he's really thinking before he's letting it go. You know what I mean?
he is a thinking man's player, and I think
He's not forcing it.
Yeah, he's so fucking so good. I mean, let's talk about some players that have kind of that we obviously mentioned on the last show, but we're a couple of games in now. Well, we're a good few games in now, and we're in a much better position. Obviously, Sean Monahan has points on the board. He obviously got the first goal last night, which I thought was a nice kind of snipe. It was the Sean Monahan you expect, right?
Yeah, that's his goal right there.
Yeah, that goal sums up Sean.
This
Yeah.
And like textbook Sean Monahan goals.
Yeah. Well, that's right. And like our good friend Beer said, get him off the power play, which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But sorry, Beer, but I'm not fucking sorry. You shut up.
Beer, shut up.
Beer, shut up.
You should hashtag that in the.
I appreciate you, Beer, but shut up.
I mean, but like honestly, I mean, we're sitting, and at least going into last night, we're sitting at 25.71% in the power play, 8th in the league. Why change it?
Yep.
There's no reason to change it. It's not the issue, or wasn't the issue for those couple of overtime losses.
And we're first on the PK.
Yeah. Leave the special teams alone right now. Let's work on other things. And I mean, quite frankly, last night they worked on everything, and obviously everything worked.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of Zadorov last night?
Yeah, Dylan, what did you think of Zadorov last night?
So the last 3 games or so, I think he's slowly gotten more into it and a little bit less shitty. Honestly, his first were really fucking bad. Wow. And the last 3 games he started to hopefully continue to prove me wrong. Keep proving me wrong, please.
That's right.
Because I'd much prefer that than I'd like
it. Should we call a medic for you? That had to hurt.
No, I want our players to do well.
I know.
He wants to hurt. He wants to be proven wrong.
I want our players to do well. I'd rather him prove me wrong than
love hurts, man.
First stretch, which
love
was
hurts.
Really terrible.
Yeah, he was horrendous in the preseason. Like,
so bad.
Like shouldn't have even been playing for the Heat. Like it was bad. But I think since then he's really settled down, and not playing on that top pairing is key to that. I think. I don't think it's expected to do as much, and I'm loving the dynamic between him and Gudbranson, to be honest. I mean,
what about I was just on that because you are the defense guy, Chris. You are the defense guy. We did speak a couple of weeks ago about Hannafin, Rasmus, in particular that needed to step up, and of course, obviously Valimaki. But Chillington is in now as well. So just in terms of, and I mean, Chillington has stepped up big time. I think he's sold Daryl. I think he's sold.
He's had a really solid season so far. For the last couple of seasons, I've been pretty down on Chillington. He's always terrified me defensively on the ice because I find that he would put himself out of position a lot. Even though he is fast, but I found he just didn't have the ability to get back in time. And if he was able to get back in time, he wasn't in a position to defend. I don't see that this year thus far, which is great. He seems to be.
Does that hurt to say, Chris? Or?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't because we're only 11 games in. Let's be honest. Yeah. I think so far he's been really good. Is it the Tanev effect on yet another player? Could possibly be. But I mean, I know I'm in the minority on thinking that he isn't a great defender. but he has proved me wrong so far this year.
Can I ask you, does he, because I remember I do this comparison to death. It's a dead horse I keep beating, but
Don't bring up TJ.
I am. That
Okay.
Does he remind you of TJ when he was a rookie? Like, because when TJ was a rookie, he did the same shit that you were talking about, and then as he got more games, it kind of got out of his game a lot more.
Kind of phased out the mistakes.
Yeah.
I mean, he TJ still did it.
Yeah.
But he was more effective at it. Like he knew when to turn and go, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not going to compare Shillington's stick to TJ's stick. I'll never do that.
No.
But yeah, I mean, there's obviously comparisons there. You know, he does have offensive ability. He's been a lot more physical this year than he has in the past, which is good. I mean, he's not the biggest guy, but I mean, he's at least able to body people off the puck and
he's done
use
it
his
quite
frame.
effectively a few times.
He has, and yeah, his
More
stick
than
is in the
Valimaki,
lane
anyway.
where it should be. And well, I mean, look where Valimaki is, right? He's watching games from the press box, so and rightfully so. He hasn't looked good so far. He's had a couple of okay plays, but as far as the whole body, it hasn't been good. Yeah. Where Shillington has definitely replaced that. He's doing.
What about Dylan? Talk to me about two players that we really were trying to keep an eye on this year in Noah Hannafin and of course Rasmus Anderson. How do you feel they've been so far?
Let me give you a quick last thought on Shillington there. I just want to give him props for fucking hitting the stanchion last night and getting back up, and like it looked like for sure like a separated shoulder or possibly a concussion or something like that, and he missed
that was a bad hit,
2 or 3 shifts.
Definitely, yeah.
And like, I don't think it was a bad hit. I think it was just unlucky spot.
Oh yeah, not that the hit was bad.
No, I think he means it was a rough hit more so than bad.
Yeah. And like, you know, a lot of coaches would have been like, you can, especially in a, what was it at that point, 3-0 or something like that. I don't even remember what the score was at that point, but like,
I wonder if he's thankful for the fact that NHL corners are rounded now instead of the way they used to be 20 years ago.
Yeah. But anyways, I just wanted to give him props for that. But yeah, as far as Hannafin, let's start with Hannafin because we've had this conversation the last couple games.
Yeah,
I think he was better last game, but like honestly, throughout the season, he hasn't been bad. I don't think he's been bad. He's not been as good as he was with Tanev. Let's be honest.
No.
But he's
Hughes
has been fucking brutal. But
fair point.
But yeah, no, with Hannafin, like not this Rangers game we just watched, but the 2 before that, I think we've been fairly critical of you know, not great pinches and not awesome giveaways.
He's struggling to hold the line,
and his like maybe lazy is there was definitely one super lazy play. I recall where he lost the puck and he just kind of like gave up on the way back up the ice.
Would that be when they scored in overtime?
Yeah,
that was bad. That was brutal.
But in general, I think throughout the season he's been not bad. Just those 2 games, those 2 overtime losses, he wasn't very good.
No, and I'm sure after that game where he couldn't hold the line, coughed up the puck, skated like lazy, like a piece of shit back. Obviously the game winner. I would hope and assume that Darryl took him over his knee over that play because that was just laziness and ridiculous.
Yeah, no, that's something that Darryl's not gonna.
Yeah, he's not going to put up.
I'm kind of curious because was that his first 2 games back after he missed that one game?
Yeah.
So I wonder if there's something bothering him. I don't know, but I don't, you know.
Yeah, it was lower body or something?
Yeah.
And he missed the 1 game, right?
He only missed 1 game.
Yeah.
But you'd figure if it was something serious and were we 6-1-2 at the time, like give him the extra day off, maybe
Yeah,
if it was
I mean,
serious.
or Sutter just really doesn't trust Valimaki.
Or Stone. I think he trusts Stone, but
I would hope he trusts Stone. Jeez.
yeah.
I want more of Stone, but I mean, really, at this point, he doesn't. He's not an improvement over what's on the ice right now, except for potentially maybe Anderson at times.
Yeah. So let's. Well, first of all, are we all in agreement with Hannafin as far as like a decent overall season, but a bad couple games?
Yeah.
Bad couple games, bad couple shifts.
Yeah. And so Chris, why don't you start off on Raz?
I was kind of with you in the thinking that he would be really having a bounce back season, but holy cow. I mean, he's okay. I think they need to get him off the number one power play. He's not shooting the puck when he should be. I don't see much in him right now.
I think he's a better option than Hannafin, but I think Shillington is a better option than both.
Sure. I mean, at this stage with the shot, I put Branson over him on number one power play myself.
Yeah, at least he directs pucks at nets.
I would love to know what's going to happen in Raz's mind. Like, I mean, is he just kind of settled for mediocrity and doesn't really care, and he's happy to be kind of making money?
Is he upset that he's not making the top pairing? I'm not really sure what's going on with him, but
he is on the top pairing.
It's Tanev and Shillington.
Are they getting more minutes?
I think so. Let's find out.
Yeah. Oh, I thought Raz and Hannafin were getting the most minutes, but I don't look so much at time on ice.
I think I mean he's definitely a guy, right, that you would be looking in possibly even now or the off season that you would be looking at saying, right, your time is up and trying to get somebody a little bit better in. Because last season he was woeful.
He was very bad last season, but I do think he's been better.
Yeah, he has been better, but I mean, we were expecting a bounce back season, and I don't think we've got that.
I think his 5-on-5 play has been pretty good. But his power play time has been not good, and
right.
But I do think his 5-on-5 play has been bounced back. It's been much.
It's improved. Yeah, it's improved.
But his power play time is just like, I don't think Sutter thinks we have anybody else, or Muller or whoever runs the power play doesn't think we have anybody else.
Well, we don't. Do we?
No. Like,
realistically, you know what I mean? We don't.
Realistically, Raz has a bomb of a shot, but he just doesn't fucking use it.
He
but at the same time, like, our power play is so good this year. Like, why are we nitpicking that Raz is like, maybe he is doing crucial things, even though he's not shooting. Like, maybe he doesn't need to shoot because there's 4 other guys on the ice who are shoot first, and well, not really.
I'd like to know Chris. You're. I know when it comes to defense, first and foremost, you want your defenders to be the kind of Al McInnes, you know what I mean, or the Ray Bork kind of defenders.
I like punishing defensemen.
Yeah.
Make their forwards not want to be there.
Yeah.
So obviously, we have one guy right now, on occasion a second.
Number 8.
Dylan, you're right. Rasmus and Noah actually have considerably more minutes than Shillington.
Yeah.
I mean, like, as far as defense goes, I mean, I don't know. He plays a lot of minutes. He's pretty quiet. I don't like how he controls or doesn't control the front of the net. That's Anderson I'm speaking about.
Yeah.
He really, at least when there's a play going on and the puck's back at the blue line, Tanev will make an effort to get the body out of the way so Markstrom could see the shot. I don't
Clear
see
them,
that
yeah.
from Anderson. And Shillington will actually just outright skate away from that situation, which is irritating to me. There was that one goal that was scored, not last game, but the game before, where Shillington literally just, he had the guy and took 3 strides away from him and left him there alone.
And to be fair,
baffles
that
my
I
mind.
think that was one of the only like maybe 2 or 3 like not good plays that Shillington's made in the
Right.
last many games. But
And it was glaring because it
was
was a
really
goal,
bad.
right? Yeah, it was a bad play. And I'm sure he was read the riot act for it, and
Yeah.
you know, and hopefully he learns from it. He's still young. Where Anderson, I don't see any of that. I mean, if you're in front of my net, I'm gonna do whatever I can. I don't care if I'm taking cross check penalties. Like make it
Yeah.
so they don't want to be there.
I agree. And just as a side note to that, I'm not sure if it's part of the system or whatever. Like you said, Tanev likes to get in there and clear the body because he knows Markstrom is likely to make the save if he can see it.
Yeah.
But I find, and like this is so nitpicky because we're playing so well and have such a low goals against average. I think it's at 2.0 right now.
Yeah.
And 4 shutouts, right? But like the defense as a whole chases the puck behind the net a little bit too much for my liking and leaves, like, even though, you know, we trust Markstrom to make that save if he can see it, leaving people open there because you're chasing behind the net terrifies the shit out of me.
Well, it does, because it's not just the initial shot, right? You know, he'll Markstrom will likely make that initial save. It's the rebounds that,
Yeah.
you know, and if you're trying to come from behind the net, you're not getting there fast enough to clear anybody from the rebound.
Yeah. And with Raz, I think you're right, bang on with that. Like, he's not so in front of the net clearing because he's behind the net chasing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think his rush defense and his neutral zone defense is a lot better, but I think his in front of the net defense is still leaving to be desired.
What about we'll move on from the defense and let's get into the exciting topic and we'll talk about the offense. Obviously,
we don't have any. Move on. No.
I think I mean, last night's scoreline might say something different.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, right. Well, I suppose we would be remiss and we'd be doing kind of listeners a disservice if we didn't talk about the whole Eichel thing. And we thought that there was a possibility of that happening. However, it looks like the boys have kind of bounced back from that. And, you know, one player in particular that has kind of said, well, fuck you, I'm here.
Well, that's right. And as Steve King from Flames Hub always tells us, right? Because, I mean, he's the all-knowing.
The man himself,
got to score 3 goals to win games in the NHL. And I mean, right now we're doing that. And so here we go.
Yeah,
I don't want to admit that he's right, but he's right.
No, he's 100% right. And what I was going to say was, obviously, Johnny, we knew money was going to take a little bit of time before we see what the effects are of the operation. And obviously, like we kind of alluded to earlier, so far so good. The little points creeping up back here and there. But the main thing is, obviously, we know Lindholm's on absolute fire. But 2 players in particular that we were looking to kind of really kind of be our talisman, I suppose, is Matthew Tkachuk and, of course, Johnny Hockey. And I will just throw my chips in and say, so far, so fucking good.
Yeah, it's tough to find a negative with that top line right now.
Is anybody liking the maturity, as Phil Anselmo would say, the maturity of Matthew Tkachuk at the moment? I mean, especially since what you had said when he was kind of sitting on his ass and kind of pissing and moaning.
I think that was the last time I saw the immature, little, you know,
petulance. The little petulant moment. That's all it really was. It was just a little moment of petulance.
And I think he's been probably talked to about that, and I think that's in the back of his mind, maybe. But
Yeah.
For
just
sure.
to touch on the off, like that first line as a whole, I think.
Well, we know Chris likes him because he's wearing his number right now.
Yeah.
Well, I had to after the performance he put on last night.
4 points, baby.
Yeah, 3 assists and a goal.
If one player has 4 points, you have 3 goals, right?
Yep, that's a fact.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you look at that top line, there's one guy, and that's Matthew, who has only a point per game production right now. The other two people on that line are more. The other two have 14 in 11 games.
And I think
has 11.
It's unrealistic to think that they're going to continue this pace, just like it's unrealistic to think we're going to have 123 points. But
no, 132 is more realistic.
Yeah,
as Chris said earlier.
But at the same time, like
it's fun while it's here, right?
They're all going to end around.
But why not though, Dylan? You know what I mean? Like this whole unrealistic thing. You see, we gotta have the bad guy, and Dylan, you're the bad guy of the show. You're the guy that people want to smack in the face, and that's
so.
Rightly so. You know what I mean? Rightly so. You deserve it.
Look at it.
Look at it. Do it through your screen. But no, what you're saying isn't incorrect, Dylan. At the end of the day, you are saying you're trying to be realistic, but at the same time, you're saying it's unrealistic, but we didn't expect this either. So is it unrealistic, or is it that you're just holding your wishes until you see what unfolds?
I think that it's unrealistic, because it's like, and I'm not saying like it can't happen. It very well could happen. I think it's unrealistic because
it is happening.
Players go through ups and downs in seasons. Like
sure,
like absolutely, players go through ups and downs in seasons. And like, sure, you look up north, like those two guys, probably their downs are having 1 point a game instead of 7. But our guys down swings are more like having a point every 2 or 3 games, or every game and a half, instead of having at least a point a game.
The difference, of course, between the two clubs, though, if up north, if their downside is the 1 point, they're not winning games. Where at least in Calgary, we have backup that can get us into the win column.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, like Edmonton are 2 injuries away from being a fuck up, right? It's always the case.
Yeah, they are a fuck up.
Yeah, fuck them.
They have arguably the 2 best players in the league, and I mean, obviously they're leading the West right now, but I mean, how sustainable is that? How often have we seen that?
Exactly, and that's why I'm a little bit more confident in the Sea of Red, in the sense that it looks like we have a coach who makes all 4 lines work for each other. And that is kind of what's happening at the moment. So it's not like one individual is standing out. There is, obviously, Chucky and Johnny at the moment are standing out, and of course Lindholm. But we do have such. I don't think Coach Sutter gets enough kind of credit in the sense of how he kind of mixes things up, and he kind of keeps his lines strong. You know what I mean? I know.
I don't think he mixes. I think that's one thing that's great about him, is that he only mixes when we
mixes his lines. Sorry, but what I'm mixing my words now. But what I mean is that like he changes the minutes for certain lines, is what I mean. You know, like he's always really good at giving more minutes to like his third and his fourth line than other teams are.
He likes riding his hot players, right?
Yeah, exactly.
He rides his hot players, but you're right. He doesn't mix up the lines unless there's too many power play to penalty kill where he has to get different guys on the ice. But
it's almost like we have a first line and then 3 second lines.
Yes, exactly. You know what? You just articulated it better than I could have. Yeah, that's exactly kind of the point.
Like maybe not skill wise, but minutes wise, I feel like that.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's why I'm maybe a little bit more confident of us being able to. I'm not saying keep this momentum all the way to the top, but I definitely think enough to put the pressure on and stay in the top three for sure. I just think there's enough from what I've seen that and look, I suppose I'm just trying to be you're being realistic. I'm trying to be pessimistic, and I'm trying to be
You're trying to be positive.
You're trying to be positive. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
No. Blake Coleman. Let's talk about Blake a little bit.
I mean,
thumbs up or thumbs down so far?
Well, I mean, as far as point production, I'm going to say thumbs down. Yeah, but as far as his actual play on the ice, I have no problems with what he's doing out there. I'm surprised he hasn't been rewarded more with more points. I mean, he sure works his ass off every game.
He's been an asset to the team, though, hasn't he, in terms of work?
Sure has, yeah. Absolutely has.
I owe Pitlick an apology because that
he works his ass off.
He works his ass off.
Definitely.
He's way more worth his money. He's worth way more than he's getting. And you know, it could very well just be he's playing with Backlund and Coleman, right? But anyways, back to Coleman. He's always kind of been, I mean, at least since his second season in New Jersey, he's always kind of been that guy, though, who's just a solid all-around player. And he doesn't need to score a lot, but generally his goals are at the right time and super clutch.
They're always important. Yeah, he's a clutch player. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. 100%. And guys, did you see that picture of him recently? Just off topic, the picture of him in the mountains with his family. Like, the dude is built from granite, isn't he? Like, just
his Halloween picture, yeah, where he was dressed like a lumberjack and his legs
holy shit! I was like, this motherfucker's calves are bigger than my head, and I have a huge head.
I mean, if you look at Coleman's numbers so far this year, after
not bigger than my neck,
right? he missed that first game with that stupid suspension. But I mean, he's got 3 goals and an assist, and he's a +6. You know, so I mean, he's doing everything right.
4 points in 9, 10 games.
Yeah, 10 games.
That's okay.
From our second 0.5 line or whatever you want to call it, I guess. Like, it's.
I like it. I think he's fit into the Sutter philosophy, but I also think he's fit into the Calgary, the Flames philosophy. I think he obviously, you know, he's a Texas boy, but he likes the mountains and he likes the cold. He's got that Sasquatch mentality, which I like about him.
He likes Calgary.
Yeah, and that's refreshing.
He seems to, doesn't he?
That's refreshing, isn't it? You know, somebody that wants to be in Calgary that is just kind of
like their family too. Like, it seems like him and family, like maybe like he very well could just be saying the right things and have a smile on.
I don't think so, though. I don't think so.
It doesn't seem like that.
No, I don't see any bullshit in that guy. I think he's just legit. I like this city. I want to live here. I mean, he's bought a really nice home there as well. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, he's from Texas, isn't he?
Yeah, he's from Texas. Yeah, so he's
so I mean, Alberta is Texas, right? That's our version of it. So that's why he likes it here.
Exactly. It's a bit colder, but you know, that's
he plays hockey for a living.
That's neither here nor there. And I mean, when you got calves like that walking around, you're like, all right, fuck it, I'm all right. I've got no around the bone.
Do you have that picture hanging up in your bedroom there, Ian, or what? You're really focusing on that?
No, I've only got Luch.
Attaboy.
Yeah. Fuck you, Chris.
So what's the Luch countdown now for Gretzky's goal record there?
Chris, okay, Chris.
624.
Chris, you usually don't come at me. Usually you come at Dylan, so you caught me off guard, but I'm all right. I'm able for it. I'm ready for it.
Good.
Yeah, so obviously, as we know now that Luch is only maybe 1,000 goals away from matching Gretzky's record. And I mean, who are you? Who are you? As the great Bret the Hitman Hart said one time in a promo in WCW, who the hell are you to doubt El Dandy?
Right.
So I will say, who the hell are you to doubt Milan Lucic?
I don't know. I don't feel like I'd want to doubt him to his face.
Oh, I don't think anybody would. I don't think anybody would.
I think
Am I
he's
the only guy, by the way, that sees the actual likeness, literally facially, with him and the Punisher? And you guys watched the Punisher?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite shows. Yeah.
Yeah, he looks, he's the spitting image of him when he's got a beard, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Spitting image, and it's like he is our own Punisher. I think that's really why I fell in love with Lucic, really, because I love the Punisher, and I was like, that's him.
So we were talking off screen a little bit. Well, I guess it was on screen, but off recording a little bit about Luch and what he didn't do that we really appreciated when we were up against the Rangers, which is take a fight against Reeves. And is Luch there to fight? Yep.
Yeah.
Does he need to fight when we're carrying play and Markstrom's playing great and we're up and the other team's already tired? Nope. Does he? Because that's, you can give the other team momentum. And I've seen this outcry of like, oh, why didn't he fight Reeves? That would have been so great to see. Yeah, it would have been fun to see, two of the last remaining heavyweights in the game fight. But the part of leadership and part of the fighting part of leadership is knowing when not to. And that was a really good not fight.
Yeah.
Well, it's a smart thing to do, right?
I wanted to ask you, Chris,
changing that momentum.
Sorry, no, I wanted to ask you, Chris, as well, because obviously you would be all for the fight, like we all would be.
Yeah, sure.
But I've seen some ridiculous tweets and some idiots, well, they're mainly Rangers fans, saying that, Luch pussied out and all this kind of thing. And you're like, really? Talking about a gladiator.
It's no different than the Matthew Tkachuk and that fucking Asian. What's his name? Cassian. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's the same thing, right? He let him go off, do his thing. Took the penalty and we won the game. There's no reason for Luch to take that fight. There's not.
By the way, my most hated human being on the planet is Cassian, and I hope he falls on his head again soon. So
yeah, I don't blame you. But I mean, when you think about the the momentum of a game, like if we were sitting halfway through the second and it was 0-0, sure, take the fight.
Yep.
But there's no reason for that fight to have ever happened unless it happened in the first 2 minutes of the game.
Even if we're up 1 and the Rangers are pushing hard, or like if we're up 1 on a lucky goal and Rangers have carried the play or whatever, like take that.
Sure.
Like if we need momentum, take a fight. If he was on the ice when Manj got headshot, take a fight.
Yeah.
But if we're up and nothing bad has happened to warrant that fight and we're carrying play, don't fucking take it.
Yeah.
No.
There's literally no reason to have that fight.
Never a reason.
Unless you're Ryan Reeves. Obviously, he wanted the fight for a reason to try and change momentum. I get it.
Yeah. And he
picked. No, he was right to ask for it. I mean, that's
100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree.
He was right to ask for it. And by the way, can we have
to watch a good hockey fight, anyways?
Can we all take a little pause right now? Let's look into the camera, and I hope you guys and gals at home that are watching this beautiful podcast that we present to you on a weekly basis at the moment, take a moment to soak it in with me and my two brothers. Let's do one more time. And let's all say on the count of 3, follow my lead. Now, this is elite level band. Bruce Dickinson, Phil Anselmo, Led Zeppelin moment shit. Let's do it. Let's all do it in tandem. On the count of 3, I'm going to give you this. 3, 2, 1. Fuck Fox. Let's do it together. Let's do it together. 3, 2, 1. Fuck Fox. There we go.
Okay.
That was so good that goal was
really
called
good
back.
Segue into talking about that.
Now, you see, This is why I should have been on Donington and all the big stages. Just unfortunately, I didn't have a voice like Bruce Dickinson. So
Dylan and I both almost hung up this call, like in the middle of your lead up to that. I'm not gonna lie, we were both very worried about what was gonna come out of your mouth. That play.
But tell me now, are you happy what came out of my mouth?
I agree. I mean, but I mean, as much as I'll say fuck Fox, I couldn't give a shit about him. I really couldn't.
Me neither.
Couldn't care less.
No, me neither. But I just thought it was a great way to do something.
And I love how the Dome went after him every time last night. It was amazing. That's the way it should be.
That's
what they should be.
And by the way, I actually like Fox. I think he's a good player. I thought the goal was actually beautiful. You know,
it was only beautiful because nobody touched him. Why didn't anybody touch him? How do you go from where he was?
But what I will say is
nobody touches him.
I like that aspect of Fox as well, though, giving the shit back to the fans. You know what I mean? Because it's banter. You know what I mean? It's like us jibing. You know, he's a jibe turkey. That's all good. There's no problem with that.
Was it Kelly Rudy? I can't remember who was talking about it, but the same thing happened with Doughty a couple of years back when he was all up in Kachuk's face every game that they played against each other, and you know they were giving each other cheap shots and shit, cheap shots, and then he scored an overtime winner, and I think he flipped one of the fans of Bird or something, and like screamed in his face or whatever, and like that's. I think that like if you're that fan, you're like that's probably fun. You know what I mean?
It's pro wrestling, right?
Yeah,
that's what it is. It's entertainment. It's pro wrestling. Like you want that. You know, you're shouting at Stone Cold Steve Austin, saying "fuck you, Steve" in Calgary at the time. You know what I mean? And Austin turns around and goes, "Yeah, what? Fuck you!" Like, as a fan, you're looking at your buddy going, "Oh shit, he acknowledged me." You know what I mean?
Maybe a little better comparison there would be Kurt Angle and "You Suck" because Fox, you suck.
Yeah. You see, it's trending now. It's trending. So I'm glad you didn't hang up the call on that one, Chris, because I told you it would be
close, buddy.
It was close. It would. Was it worth it though? Was it worth it?
I was looking at the look on Dylan's face there, and I'm like, yeah, he's worried too.
I have no idea what's about to come out of Ian's mouth, and half the time when that happens, it's not appropriate for television. So
I'm a professional at the end of the day. I'm not going to wish.
That's why we do podcasts and not.
We're all professionals.
That's why we're not at Sportsnet.
Yeah. I don't listen. You know, I might wish all kind of bad things on Cassian, but I don't really wish anything bad on Cassian. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like okay, I don't want you to die, so I just want you to. You know, have a bit of a sore fucking knee for a couple of days. That's about it.
Just to touch on the Fox thing, and it's really nothing to do with Fox, but the Dome, especially this year, even though we're winning, and in years previous, just because it's the Dome, I don't really know why. It's not the most rockin' house. It can be quiet even when we're doing well. It can be super quiet, and that was the most crowd involvement, and that's what it took. But the thing is it shows that fans know what's going on. Like it's not that you know, Fox got traded that they're upset about. It's not that Fox got traded and won the Norris. It's that Fox is an entitled little bitch and wouldn't sign with any other team but the exact one, you know, when he was fucking 19 or whatever. It shows that the Calgary Flames fans are upset. Not upset. They don't like the guy because of that and not because he.
Well, it was disrespectful. That's what.
It is, and like. Even
it's basically telling you that
I get wanting to play in one of the biggest markets. I understand that.
Yeah, but at the same time, you're disrespecting and you're shitting on every single person that put effort into scouting you, you know, putting effort into trading you.
Show no appreciation for the team that drafted you, for the team.
You know what I mean?
That's
exactly it. So again, 3, 2, 1. Fuck Fox.
Fuck you, Fox.
Yeah, fuck you, Fox. You see, we got Chris on board now.
Yeah.
I've always been on board. When people are whining about it 2 years ago, when I guess 3 years ago when we traded him, they couldn't believe that we traded him. It's like, it's
Was
literally
he
just
never
a
going to
piece. Like,
play?
he was never signing here, so who gives a
Fuck
shit
him.
about him?
Yeah, exactly.
We
He
we
Fuck
did
him
wanted
we
and
to
did
go
move
back to
on.
college
we,
and play
we,
his
we had to do
college.
the same thing with Ericsson years ago, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Talk about a story of where are they now? Who gives a shit?
I mean, like, imagine Pimple Face Mac fucking David. Like, he literally, Mr. Neckbeard. That I'm stealing that from the On the Dome guys in the Dome guys, because those two guys are an absolute hoot, to be honest with you. But they were slagging, they were calling them Mac Neckbeard and Mac Pimple Face. And I was like, shit. I'm like, those guys go in deeper than we do. I was like, shit. If they were giving you a 3-2-1 and a build up, I'd be like, okay, end the call. But no, shout out to those two guys. Great Flames pod as well.
I've been calling him McCollarbone for years.
But they, I mean, it's like what what's so great about Edmonton? I'm sure if he got a little taste of somewhere in Florida or New York, he'd probably be like, okay, maybe I can stay here. But he likes being the one man pony show. So.
Well, he likes to be in the spotlight, right?
Yeah.
Nobody
And he's
thinks
good
he's
at
as
it.
good.
Like, honestly, credit where it's due. He's good at it. He's a fucking amazing hockey player.
Well, he's the best player in the world. So
basically.
Yeah.
But
people might not like it, but he is.
Yeah.
Speaking of best player in the world, can we just fucking end the conversation about that play the other night when he skated through a couple of Rangers while they just it was the most pathetic. It was the most pathetic display of defense I've ever seen in my life. They did everything other than just drop their sticks on the ice and look the other way. They did nothing. It wasn't because they couldn't touch him. They just literally didn't.
Sutter would have.
It was almost. It was like it was planned. It was like, okay, at this moment, here we go. This is the play. He skates around. All the Rangers players got together and okay, this is the time. Remember, we talked about this. All right, here he comes. All right, everybody, okay, look the other way. It was the most embarrassing display of defense I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I agree.
And like I just said like 5 times, because I'm really bad at interrupting you, and I'm sorry about that. But
you're the heel of this show. It's okay.
He's scored so many amazing goals. He is a human highlight reel. That goal was one of the least effort goals I've ever seen him score, because he didn't need effort. Sutter would have scratched 3 of those players, and the one that actually did something would have been, on the third. I don't even know if it was a defenseman. Or it would have been 4th line or 3rd pairing the next game, because
the only player he addressed was the goalie. The other 4 just let him go there.
Yeah. They gave him.
You think that would have been even afterwards? Sorry.
Yeah, they gave him the center lane. They skated backwards. They didn't close on him, and the one guy did the lazy 2015 Johnny Gaudreau poke check from way too far out that doesn't really actually do sweet fuck all. But at least he tried something, I suppose. And McDavid barely had to deke until he got to the goal. Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
And like the other 3 just kind of like they were skating backwards, they were gliding backwards, but they gave Connor McFucking David the center lane. Who in their
right? Yeah, it was pathetic. I mean, what he did to the goalie, sure, I'll give him that. But as far as skating through the entire team, fuck off.
Oh yeah, you'd wonder what's kind of written and what's right? I wonder, is there a couple of little payoffs? I mean,
like
I'm gonna wind
I was
up
watching
here.
WWF from back in the day.
I know. Yeah.
I'm just like, this is scripted.
There was more legitimacy though in Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior than there was in that fucking goal.
Right.
I mean, I just want to wind Dylan up a little bit here because I know he loves, and nobody's done it in a while. But how many posters do you reckon Cassie Campbell has of McDavid on her fucking wall? Do you reckon she has like literally a Connor McDavid head on the top of her dildo? I reckon she does.
I don't know what you want me to say about that. She hasn't even mentioned the guy in like 3 broadcasts.
Oh, she mentioned him there. She mentioned at the start of the game. She mentioned that goal. She was just like she was literally climaxing.
She brought it up after Chucky's goal last night.
She did.
She right then and there decided that she wanted to compare that goal to McDavid from the night before.
She did.
So let's segue that into.
I'm only kidding with you, Dylan.
Chucky's goal. So
Dylan, I gotta say, I've got a lot of fanfare on the Flames Hub that love me doing this to you.
I know.
Give him the diamond.
I just don't.
Diamond cutter.
I just don't give a fuck about people's thoughts about the broadcasters.
I like Cassie Campbell. I just want to wind you up. That's all. I'm sorry.
I'm more worried about the people on the ice. Like I'll rip on Kelly a little bit, but like we're winning. I do not care. Yeah. Like if you don't like it, then switch to 960 or switch to the away broadcast or whatever. Like fuck, there's so many options. Just do something else.
You can even press the mute button.
You can.
Yeah.
Can. So Chucky's goal. Let's talk about that.
Yes.
So
please.
Skating backwards. Nice pass from Johnny. Nice vision from Johnny. Nice little backwards skate. And like the 9.5 out of 10 times he tries a between the legs thing and it doesn't work. But because he's skating in backwards, it's an absolute beauty of a goal. Beautiful goal.
I bet you got shit from Sutter for it though.
Because he didn't need to be fancy.
It was showboating and the 6th goal in the 6-0 game.
Yeah.
Still beautiful.
I mean, it was cool. It was fun. I mean, sure. But I'm not walking away going, "Did you see that goal?" That's like literally the only thing I'm not talking about from that game.
Yeah,
it's pretty high on my list of things I couldn't give a shit about.
And it's so inconsequential at that point. Like maybe if it was the 2nd goal, I would have been like, oh, but that's the 6-0, I believe, goal, and like Rangers had long past given up, and the shutout was basically fucking secure, and
yeah.
Can we not like shit on it though and moan about it and just be happy about it?
Oh, absolutely.
Like, what the fuck, man? We're moaning about a fucking goal here. What
the hell? It was good. It was, but when earlier you were talking
goal
about,
and it meant 6-0. So like at the end of the day, Chucky ended with a 4-point game. Like, come on.
Oh, I'm super happy about it. I've got them in
well, you could have fucking filled me.
The one thing I will say though, Ian, is earlier you talked about how Chucky seems to be more mature.
Yeah.
But it's plays like that make me not think that he is.
Well, but that's trying to get a fancy goal, and he got it. So I mean, you're already 5 up. Why not? That's the perfect time to try something like that. At least he's not trying that when it's 0-0, or you know what I mean.
But that's half of what he tries, no matter what.
Well, then trade him and get a lesser player, and then you won't have to moan about Chucky anymore.
No,
that's the best thing to do.
We like the guy.
Well, let's talk positive then, because he got 4 fucking points.
Do you know what the best part of that goal was? Was Markstrom's comments after the game.
What did he say?
Actually, I didn't hear it.
He says that never goes in during practice.
Because he tries it all the time in practice. It never goes in.
And Kachuk followed it up with, "No, he's right. It never does."
Yeah.
It was an amazing goal. To me, that's a better highlight reel goal than what McDavid did.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Every day, that's going to be on that little app now next week, and to be honest with you, like I'm a Chucky guy, so it's like I'm going to be happy seeing that. But I'm a Chucky guy. I'm a Chucky guy when he's playing hockey and fucking contributing all the way.
I don't like the guy at all. So I mean, it's
absolutely you can tell.
It's just like
Can we see the back of this man's shirt?
Really bad, everybody. I don't like him at all. Let's not.
Let me rub this one out. Yeah.
I had to. Anyways, just so we're clear, this was the jersey I wore game 1. My Johnny is what I've been wearing games 2 through 11. So I'm going to continue with the Johnny for now during gameplay.
Yeah. I put my money one down. I generally wear my Ginla one, which is just and usually when I wear that one, we kind of win. So I'm just
hang that bad boy up.
Yeah, I'm not.
I kind of cycle through as I cycle through. If we lose, I'll switch. If we're winning, I'll keep that one on.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty much.
That's good. Yeah.
I mean, thankfully this year I haven't had to break out the Dion enough, right? Because we've been winning, thankfully.
Yeah. I suppose, guys,
I have no comments on that.
I know you do.
As we
you instantly had an angry face there, Dylan. That brought up some emotion.
As we kind of wind down, guys, is there any other little bits and pieces that we think? I mean, for me personally, I think we've covered pretty much everything. We are definitely a team on the right trajectory. That's for sure.
Yeah. The as fun as these 11 games have been, obviously, a couple of overtime losses that I feel like we should have at least won the overtime portion of it. Tana looks like he's having a tough go of the last couple of games, and I hope he gets his mojo back because the man's a stud on the ice, and we need him.
Yeah.
Yep. So because as you said earlier, Ian, and we'd be doing a disservice to not talk about the Eichel thing for at least 20 seconds.
Yeah.
I think whether
we are turning this broadcast off.
I think whether you wanted him or you didn't want him, you thought whatever deal was on the table was good or not, I think we can all pretty much be happy that he's not in Buffalo. It's over. Obviously, we'll hear more, but we're going to hear a lot fucking less about it. It's not going to be every post on your Facebook feed or whatever anymore. And the guy
hallelujah, it's over.
He's going to get his surgery. Hopefully it works, and hopefully he's back. He's on Vegas, and that's going to suck if he's back full force, but happy for the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what Vegas has to do to make the contract work. Right.
Yeah.
Because they have a lot on IR right now. So obviously, depending on how the IR things works out for this season, it may be interesting, but next year is going to be definitely interesting.
And one thing that goes a little on, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just, so, I mean, it may be it may be a nightmare for a couple of years. I don't know. Maybe the surgery will actually help him win faceoffs and become a true center.
Well, that's one thing I was thinking too, because you always bring up his faceoff percentage, but if your neck isn't working, how are you, we talk about Monahan and his hip, and having a hip that locks up, that's impossible to win a faceoff. But with Eichel, you have to move your neck as you're twisting. You know what I mean?
Neck injury is one of the most dangerous.
Monahan had his, aside from his first season, but had his worst faceoff percentage at 49% last year with his hip problem that would lock up every time he bent over. So I'll give him the pass. Eichel doesn't get a pass because his career average is only 44.
Yeah, exactly. And that's fair. But yeah, back to the whole Vegas IR thing for a second. One thing that goes just a little bit under the radar, because obviously Pacioretty and Stone are on the IR, is Carlson just hit IR too.
That's right.
And that's, 3 of their top 6 and 2 of their top line.
That's right. So depending on when those guys get back, they may not even make the playoffs to try the Tampa Bay Lightning format for playoffs, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Well, look, that's it. I suppose we we move on. The Flames are Eicheless, and
winning games.
And winning games, and we still have Chucky, and we have most of the pieces that we thought we would have to lose to get him. And like I said, last night was a huge was a huge win, I think, for Chucky in a lot of ways as well. And hopefully we move on and get some sort of closure and get a new deal.
Never in the conversation. He was never in the conversation.
Yep, exactly. There you go. Words from his mouth, not Dylan's or mine. His mouth.
Words from Kevin Adams of the Buffalo Sabres was that Matthew Tkachuk was never in the conversation. Obviously, they asked Brad about him, but Brad was like, "Fuck no."
Yeah.
So we don't have to hate Brad too much anymore.
Well, let's not
get too far.
That's for another episode. This is the positive episode.
I know.
After the 6-0
I know.
win.
And there's me saying we don't have to hate on Brad.
Jeez.
Good Lord, what's happened? What's happened to me? Look, guys, until next time, it's been a pleasure talking to you once again. I think we've covered pretty much all of the positives, the little few negatives that have kind of popped up, which we do need to talk about. But I think overall we've talked about the positivity of how good the Flames have been so far this season. And of course, we will be back next week to talk about what goes on with this week. So, until next week, I've been your host, Ian the Dynamo Kelly. Dylan, pleasure, my friend.
Pleasure, as always, boys.
Chris, pleasure, my friend.
I'm always in awe when I'm online with the amazing Ian Kelly.
Well, I hope you are too, the listener. And until next week, we are over and out.